Three after 10 o'clock, our final interview for the morning with Aisha Kaji. She is a research fellow at AfriSid. We are looking at the issue around President Samia Suluhu Hassan. The president of Tanzania has ended a 6-year ban on opposition rallies, which was put in place in the year 2016 by her strongman predecessor. Does this mean good news finally for the Tanzanian people? Does it mean that there's going to be more freedoms as far as the Tanzanian people are concerned? Does it also mean that you're going to get more and more political parties being formed and, coming to the fore and questioning and testing the status quo in Tanzania? Aisha Kaji, Assalamu alaikum, welcome to the program.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Indeed, it means all of those things, Julie. It's the start of a freer, more open society in Tanzania, a move towards greater democracy once again. A lot of freedom of expression was shut down under the former president, Mr. John Magufuli, who passed away in 2021, and the then vice president, Samia Suluhu, basically took over the presidency. And she has been criticized for being as autocratic as her predecessor, but we've seen in recent months several moves towards greater freedom of expression and greater democracy. Certainly, opposition parties in the country are welcoming this move. They're saying it's much needed. It's the return to a right enshrined in the Tanzanian constitution, etc.
She has gone on. To say that she is not going to be standing for a second term. And I think that term comes to end in 2025.
Yes.
I'm wondering about those murmurings. Why would you say something like that? Given that she's now, I should imagine, becoming more and more popular with the people by lifting all of these bans and just allowing that much more freedom in the country.
Well, it was actually a newspaper that said she wouldn't be standing for re-election in 2025. She hasn't actually indicated whether she will or she won't, because as you know, she became president pretty much by default. This is Mr. Magufuli's second 5-year term. So in effect, she could stand on her own ticket come 2025. And it certainly seems as though her popularity is on the increase, as you've said, and that she might eventually decide to run in 2025, but that's yet to be seen. In fact, the newspaper that reported that she would not stand for re-election in 2025, this was 2 years ago in 2021, soon after she took over the presidency after Mr. Magufuli's death, that newspaper was banned, but then subsequently unbanned. So she was criticized, in fact, for that move. But she has unbanned 4 publications last year. And she has also made overtures towards an exiled opposition leader living in Brussels during a visit there recently. She has also made overtures towards other opposition leaders currently within the country. And there are 19 political parties currently registered in Tanzania. So the fact that they'll be able to rally, to be able to effectively challenge the president and the constitution and the democratic space generally is certainly a positive move for the country.
What can we read into that, all these overtures to that exiled person in Brussels? And then also let me just bring in here something else that I do need you to respond to. And that is in 2018, the Magufuli-led government enacted legislation requiring bloggers, social media influencers, and online platforms to obtain a license to pay a one-time fee of $930. That's a lot of money to keep their websites operational. Then 3 years later, Hassan comes into power following the passing of Magufuli. And she then, I don't think, has done anything around that issue. She has, I'm not sure if that is still open-ended. Do they still pay that fee, or has she actually scrapped it?
There are calls for her to scrap it, but it hasn't yet been scrapped. However, its enforcement has been patchy. So there are currently some bloggers and online entertainers and infotainers who are currently able to operate without having paid that license fee. As you said, it's an enormous fee, particularly for small independent journalists, edutainers, infotainers, etc. And so it is something that drew a lot of criticism for shutting down the freedom of expression in the country. And perhaps it is one of the things Mrs. Samia Suluhu will be looking at going forward. However, for now, Zito Kabwe, one of the opposition leaders in the country, has said that this particular overture of hers to unban political rallies per se is a really big move and signals an opening up of space. So we'll have to wait and see whether that opening up is the precursor to more open freedom of expression, more voice for political participants as well as social participants in the domestic polity of Tanzania.
Something that jumps out at me and I think is very forward thinking on her part, that is if she does follow through with it fully and sticks with it, is her strategy of the 4 R's being reconciliation, resilience, reforms, and rebuilding the nation. Huge. It's a huge task, is it not? Has she given a
Yes.
time frame?
Well, she said that, she wants to make certain very significant changes within this 5-year term, so within the next 2 years before the next elections. And she's made already some strides towards that. We spoke not so long ago, Julie, about the fact that she had donated or used the Independence Day celebration budget
Yes,
for the
absolutely.
building up of the building of dormitories for disabled children, etc. So it seems that she's quite serious about issues such as reconstruction and reconciliation and reform more generally. Again, it's a wait and see game. We'll have to see what comes out of President Suluhu's office next. But it's certainly an exciting time for Tanzania generally, for women in Tanzania, and for the fact that the president is making concerted moves towards a more democratic, more open political atmosphere in the country, climate in the country.
She certainly is an African leader to be watching and watching very closely. And perhaps our leader should be taking a leaf out of her book as well, is all I can say, because thus far, whatever she has delivered on has been very admirable. So it's really a wait and see what pans out. And undoubtedly, we will talk with you in the near future about developments in Tanzania. As always, Aisha Kaji, lovely talking with you. Hope you're going to have a bumper year 2023. May it be better than last year. May you be in Allah's grace and mercy and guidance, inshallah.
Ameen. Thank you for that, Julie. And may Allah bless you with the same and the entire Salam Media team as well. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thumma Ameen. Wa alaikum assalam. It is 12 after 10 o'clock. Time for us to wrap up. A big thank you to my producer and controller this morning. That's you, Abdus Salam. Thank you indeed for the support and putting together a great show. Of course, that means I will only be joining you again as from next week, Monday. And oh my word, good people, we go back to normal as from Monday. And I think the date is the 9th of January. Yes, we'll have our full complements of staff back at work, and it's going to be back to business as per normal. May it be a great year for each and every one of us, inshallah. As I've said to Aisha Kaji, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala watch over us, keep us safe, keep us together in peace and harmony with our loved ones. Till then, as always, Assalamu alaikum and Khuda Hafiz from me, Julie Ali.